I'm Natalie.
And I'm Hannah. Welcome to the Stride Sisters podcast. On today's episode, we're shifting gears from one RunDisney weekend to another because it's almost time for Princess Half Marathon weekend. Today, we're breaking down the event guide so you know what to expect, from the expo to the races to all the magical details in between. And along the way, we're also talking about the Late-Onset Dopey Downers, because finishing an epic challenge like Dopey comes with a lot of emotions, and we're here to remind you that all the feelings are valid. So lace up your shoes and step into the magic with us.
Another race weekend gone. 3 of the 6 Infinity Stones of the 2024-2025 season have been acquired.
On to the next one.
Yay!
As promised, Princess Half Marathon weekend event guide this week.
Call it by its government name.
Yeah, gotta get it all official and stuff.
Yeah, it's a new month, a new stuff going on. It kind of feels weird to be in this position of, we have a new Club RunDisney window of registration open. Have I figured out what I'm doing for Wine and Dine yet? Absolutely not. But, here we are.
I want to do it, but I also want to save money. As my mom, who, in case everyone doesn't know, my mom listens to this weekly. And hi, Mom.
Hi.
She texted me after listening to last week's video while I think I was on my way home from work or something. And she said, "No purple merch for you." And I was like, what? I didn't understand the context because that's not where my brain was. And then it processed and she's like, "You want a house, no purple merch for you." Thanks,
Which
Mom,
means
for the
just
reminder.
one purple merch. So that when you just do one purple merch, then it's all good.
We'll see. I'm wearing purple kind of merch right now, so maybe that will have to be satisfactory.
Like, am I going to limit myself anything Chicago related? No, I'm not. So it's just going to happen.
Funnily enough, Chicago was so chaotic the day we went to go pick up our bibs, which wasn't even the first day because it just stays chaotic there, but that we didn't buy anything, like any official merch or anything while we were at the expo for Chicago. I bought my UFOs, my very first pair of UFOs I bought there, and that's
Blessed.
it.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I ended up buying something from Nike later, like way later, like the race was in October, and yep. I bought it during like a Black Friday or a actually I think it was Boxing Day sale through Nike online. I bought my what are the quarter zips that are for that that have the thumb holes and stuff? Dry fit quarter zip thing.
I was gonna say cool jacket with thumb hole is probably about my descriptor for that.
Well, and Nike, not only do they put thumb holes, in case you were curious, dear listeners,
watch hole?
They also put watch holes. And those are great.
It never fails to make me laugh during a RunDisney Expo weekend when someone's like, my jacket has this extra hole. Because they have the thumb holes and then they have the watch hole too.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me chuckle every time because I think the first time I tried on one like that, I'm like, why is his sleeve like a little longer? I'm like, oh, that's a watch hole.
Mm-hmm. I like it when they do that because also it means that, I don't know, other people maybe won't like this, but it means that the wrist hole, I think, is a little bit bigger on those because you have to be able to get it over things. And I get really annoyed when the armhole, wrist hole, whatever you want to call it, is too narrow because I don't like that feeling of it cutting into my hand.
Fair. Circulation is good.
Mm-hmm.
that just brought back the Schoolhouse Rock thing about circulation in your heart. And I don't remember enough of the words to narrate it or to make a sly reference, but just know
S-
that I have parts of it in my head.
See, you immediately went to circulation in the heart, and as soon as you said the word circulation and School of Rock, I started thinking about the Bill song and how bills become laws.
I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Um, this is not a Schoolhouse Rock podcast, but maybe it could be if we found something. Maybe there's one about gym and like running around and like getting some
Oh my
cardio
gosh.
in every
Yeah,
day.
I'm gonna look into that. That might be an episode for the future. I'll do
I
some
can make
AI generated art for that. Or we'll find if you're a dear listener who is actually capable of designing art, we will ask you to help us instead of AI.
yes.
We
Yes.
like people.
Yes, we definitely do. Also, before AI even just looks at the request and goes, "Why?" What's wrong with them?
Oh. So training. Since we've mentioned Princess a few times, we've mentioned other races. We have officially recapped the marathon weekend, fortunately and unfortunately. Um, but we are working towards our next race weekend, which is Princess. My training has been lackluster this week because you've heard it in other episodes, but I did one run over the weekend and it was great. And then promptly got my hair done on Tuesday and did not do any exercise post getting hair done. And my hair is still technically straight because I haven't washed it yet. And I'm clinging on for dear life because I don't like doing it myself. But I
For
will get back
context,
to
it's
it.
Thursday. It hasn't been a week.
No, no,
Um
no. It's only been a couple of days. Yeah, we're pre-recording Thursday. We have
Yes.
I'm going to a baby shower this weekend for a dear friend of ours and so we're pre-recording cuz I have to travel. But we'll be getting there. I'll get it in eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm kind of cutting myself a little bit too much slack. If Kristen hears this, I'm sorry, but like I think some part of my brain keeps thinking like you just did 48.6. What's another week off really going to hurt? It's not a good train of thought, people.
Fair. Yeah. I have been getting a little bit back on the wagon this week with running. I feel like I took more time off than I did, and I definitely did need that good week and a half, like, really doing relatively light exercise. And I obviously don't regret taking it, but, um, got my first speed work done, I think, of 2025.
Whoop, whoop.
So, that was good. It was well needed to rip it. So, that was definitely a really good thing to get through. Have yet to do strength training.
I did one. It made my hamstrings hurt.
To be fair, this past week, I kind of did some strength training almost because I was at an inventory count and I was lifting lots of pallets and boxes.
I was
So,
just about to ask. I was like, did you lift some boxes? Was that your strength training?
um,
This is valid strength training. It's
I
basically
counted.
squats and
Yeah, I try to
maybe
always lift
deadlifts.
correctly. Yes, and it was cool. It was good. It was a good site visit overall, but I was like sweating. I wasn't even in a warehouse. I was in like a room where they like build stuff like when we were counting, but I was sweating. So I did a lot of like I did some heavy lifting. So I'd say that counts. It just wasn't a formal. I did not log it in True Coach to say the least. Kind of all that being said, I kind of wanted to chat a little bit about where some things have been. And you've kind of been saying, like, like coming off that marathon high and stuff like that. And like, usually it's like I'm so energized when I come home from marathon weekend for Princess. And like, it just feels like I just jump right back in and stuff like that. And, or like I usually don't get the dopey downers and whatnot. And again, life has a way of going, really? Because I kind of I'm feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. I'm feeling it now.
Mm.
So, I think that I know it's a lot more based on other things I have going on in my life that I think it's just not to psychoanalyze myself here because I am not a mental health professional, first of all, nor is it, I think, appropriate to, like, psychoanalyze yourself.
Speak to professionals so you don't go down a rabbit hole.
True. Um, but I think in a lot of ways that because there's just a lot going on in those other facets of my life that it's almost making me, like, not even, like, look nostalgically towards marathon weekend, but, like, wow, that was such, like, a good happy feeling and
Mhm.
whatnot. And what's different about this time is that usually I'm able to just channel that into just being excited for Princess and just channel my energy into Princess. But this time I'm not. And it's like sad for me to admit that. And it's hard for me to admit that because again, I usually do like, I'm like Princess is my jam, y'all. Like I freaking love Princess half marathon weekend. It's my favorite. I, you know, And it's, like, hard to admit that it's, like I'm, of course, excited for the weekend. I'm excited to see people. I'm excited to have, like, get a chance to meet more listeners, just see friends and whatnot, but it's been hard, and it's been kind of hard to motivate myself. It's not even hard to because then, like, a big thing of Natalie is, like, overthinking.
Mm.
Um, and it's like, "Oh, well, you have
Welcome
these
to club
goals in your"
anxiety.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the club. And in a lot of ways, it's like, oh, well, you have these goals. And it's like, well, if you're going to sabotage yourself from achieving these goals, then you're just going to be sad more. And why should you even start? So I don't know. I've been trying to work through a lot of that and get over that. So um, I don't necessarily want to call them the Dopey Downers because I don't really think it's based off that. But at the same time, for somebody who had such an amazing marathon weekend, was really, like, riding the high, like, had like, I finished and I had a good really great time, both, like, having fun and, like, I ran quick and I ran fast for me. So, for somebody who kind of, like, feeling those highs and, like, that peak, I'm kind of in the dip in the valley right now. So, if that's you and, like, especially it's hard to not see everybody around you and, like, seeing, like, everyone's like, like, "Man, like, it's great, it's awesome." I'm, like, just thinking, like and it's hard to not just see all the happy around you and then, like, be like, "Well, shoot, I'm the only one who's, like, sad."
Which is not true.
That first of all, not true because, like, I just because I don't post myself crying in the club doesn't mean I'm not crying in the club. It's a whole thing. But anyway, just know that if you're in this situation where you and it's especially because I feel like there's this guilt behind first of all, I was raised Catholic, so Catholic guilt. But there's this guilt behind, like, I have this opportunity. I am so excited to go to Disney, and I am so excited, but, like and I feel guilty that there's, like, pieces of it that I'm, like, sad about in a way. So just know that you're not alone, and my DMs are open, and we can cry in the club together.
Get yourself a friend, even if it's us, to help you through it.
Yeah. And also, like, and I'm sure that it's also kind of hard to if you had a really hard marathon weekend or
Mhm.
whatnot, or you are kind of dealing with ramifications after and you have just somewhat of an uncertain future, like with certain things. And I'm gonna you can decide what that means to you of like like
There's
injury,
all
like you yeah, like
there's all
all kinds
kinds
of
of
stuff.
reasons to have all kinds of feelings, and they're all valid.
Yeah, they're definitely it's definitely valid. So just know you're not alone. Kind of going through it right now in a lot of ways. So you're not alone. Don't feel like guilty if you just kind of have a lot of I don't even want to call them mixed feelings, but you just have feelings. There's a lot of feelings. Feel what you gotta feel. Know we're here to support in a way. And again, I'm always happy to cry in the club with someone.
We should have a group watch of Inside Out 2 or Inside Out 1. I mean, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
2. So we're gonna move into our countdowns until those races.
Yeah. It's negative days till Disneyland, so we hope you had a good time.
Yeah. We can't wait to talk about it next week with Jessica.
Yay.
Yay. All right, we've got 16 days until Princess Weekend 2025. It is crunch time, people. Get your costumes, figure out your emergency plans, maybe start packing. What else?
Book a flight.
Yeah, if you haven't done that, book flight. Prepare your nutrition plan.
Yes. Yeah, make your orders from, like, the feed if you need to.
Mhm. Restock as needed. I mean, pretty much everything is usually available at the expo, but I don't like to rely on that as, like,
Oh,
unless I
yeah.
absolutely have to.
Yeah, maybe don't start spiraling about the weather yet because that causes everyone to
Yeah, that's
spiral
one
about the
thing you
weather.
shouldn't do. Don't do that.
Yes, exactly.
Go find someone's Instagram account and look at how happy they looked at other races. Think about that.
Exactly.
Okay, we've got 58 days until Springtime Surprise Weekend 2025. Have any surprise bibs materialized, Natalie?
Not yet.
Dang
I
it.
it was open this week, um, in terms of it being the springtime surprise challenge, but it's been a week.
Did you opt
Um,
out or were you busy?
I was busy. I didn't notice it until I went to look today. And
Gotcha.
I was scrolling through the Telegram or the Discord updates and I saw that it had opened. I'm just, I'm, I'm trying to work on things materializing.
Okie dokie. We have 212 days until Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon 2025 and the start of a new Run Disney season. The shirt deadline is February 12th, 2025. That's next week, so get ready. Make
Woo!
those swaps if you need to. The proof of time deadline is April 1st, 2025. Not a joke. We're very serious about it. We have 261 days until Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend 2025. That was a mouthful. I almost messed up. Club Run Disney registration for that race is February 4th, 2025. How
Yeah.
many days is that?
It starts today.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I know.
What a perfect episode for you to go on a
Already.
tangent with us and hopefully distract you from the chaos that is that.
Oh, no, no. Today's Club Run Disney registration. So you have a week until you have to panic.
Correct. Yep, there we go. This is what happens when we record late at night. And then general registration is February 11th, 2025. So that's when you really have to panic. So you get an extra week. Congrats.
Or not panic
Yeah,
because you
don't.
listened to the registration rundown episode and you know.
Yep. And share with your friends because we still, I mean, it will forever be a question by someone. We see it very frequently in the Facebook groups. There's always new people who don't know how to register. So share. We really
Indeed.
appreciate that. All right, we've got 337 days until the next marathon weekend 2026.
Eh.
Clo-
That's
Weird
gross.
mouth sounds.
That's a lot. Okay, continue. It's the 2026 of it all that's a lot, okay? Like, we both turned 30 this year, so, like,
I try and focus more, and I don't really think 30 for me feels like it's going to be some like crazy thing. But so I try and reframe it and think about like my sister's going to graduate next year or like that kind of thing. I think about other people's milestones instead of mine.
yeah, I like that a lot more. I do like that quite a bit more. I just, how do we say this? You know when you set a goal by the time you're 30?
Oh gosh, what did you set?
Oh, it wasn't that bad. It's just that I wanted to get my 5K time under a certain time, and, the Garmin of Shame
But
is
you also
telling me.
haven't been training for 5Ks. You've been training for marathons.
Yeah, no, that's true. So, or that, or I think even better is, that I wanted to run an ultra because an ultra is like, a
Anything
50K is
longer.
31 miles. So, like, I wanted to do that by the time I was 31. And guess what? When you turn 30, 31 is a lot closer.
You still have a chance. I totally think you could do it.
Oh, I do think I could do it. It's just that it just rapidly approaches.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, technically Dopey is not an ultra, but it's pretty dang close. I know a lot of people say they use it as like their trial for whether or not an ultra would be something they'd be interested in because the time commitment of training for Dopey is pretty similar to that of an ultra. Um so you've done multiple Dopies, girl. You could totally decide to do an ultra next year.
See, the thing is that that scares me. That it's not the idea of doing it, it's that the fact that, like, it's the domino. It's the domino that started of being scared at a 10K 5 years ago to, "Oh, yeah, I could probably yeah, it's just like a 10K more to do an ultra."
I mean, that's the logic we all use for each race. It's just a little bit more.
It's runner math. That's
Runner math.
scary.
Let's jump into something maybe a little bit happier. Some Disney news, perhaps.
Sure.
Did I actually give the registration dates? Did I get distracted along the way?
Oh, shoot, no, we did not we definitely did not.
Okay,
Oh.
well, let me give you the registration dates first, and then we'll cover Disney news. Club Run Disney's registration is March 4th, 2025, and general registration is March 11th, 2025. So if you're a general registration, or I mean, I guess either way, the registrations are exactly a month apart. They're on the same day, so it's easy, just like boop, boop, move it down a month if you want to register for both. Your calendar reminder.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, now to the Disney news.
So we were a little bit lighter on Disney news, at least at the point of recording, because I have like some trust issues from the fact that, they dropped the Muppet news on a Friday, but last week. Okay. So one of the things I found interesting, obviously we're not at Disneyland half marathon weekend. We didn't go. So, but I did think it was interesting that they had a bib verification station at the expo. And what are you talking about, Natalie? Well, if you and I'm sure for some people I am preaching to the choir, but since our bibs at marathon weekend were unaffected, we didn't really talk about this at all.
Thank you, universe.
Yes. But at marathon weekend, it was discovered that there was a problem with trackers for
A lot
bibs
of bibs.
over a lot of bibs. So basically, or it was all the 10K bibs, some of the dopey bibs over, I think, 2,600,000, sorry. Goofy
There were
bibs, like
some
it was
half
a lot.
bibs too, yeah.
Yes, a lot of the half bibs. So they had to basically this was discovered, I think, late in the afternoon on the 5K day. So people were sent emails if they had to go get their bib checked and re-tagged and whatnot.
Mhm. And the
So
expo had already closed, so there was no like you couldn't go back.
yes, it was in the morning. And it was only they were only offering it to dopey runners because of yeah.
Mhm.
So personally, kind of having been somebody not affected personally by it, I believe that RunDisney did the best they could with a situation that I don't entirely think was their fault because their Track Shack puts the bips out. Like they are the ones who set up the bips. So kind of I think RunDisney reacted about as well as they could have. And what I've been told is that if you provide your time from your watch with like a picture of the finish line and email Track Shack, they have been adding people to the finishers. So if it is really important to you to have an official time for the marathon, because it's registering for dopies that I believe that it's registering that you started and finished it. It's just not giving you a time for
Mm.
whatever reason. So if you want to be added, if it is really important to you to have all four
Or
of
if you need it for
the
coast to coast.
yes, especially if you need it for coast to coast. I I think I've heard good things so far. I haven't heard bad things in terms of people who are had their check-in pass say not eligible and then even though they were, but it's because of the bib problem. I have been hearing I think positive things about how they're handling that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Let us know
If
in the
I
comments.
yeah, for sure. Because I know that if you're doing so we're recording Thursday night. If you're doing Dumbo Double Dare, you don't have to be there until Friday to get your bib. So I know that there might be a smaller population of people who have actually had to deal with this. So if it's important, definitely Anyway, there was a bib fiasco, TLDR. And what they're doing is they're making you check the bib that the bib works. I think they have just like a little timing mat for you to step over to make sure your bib registers before you leave the expo. So I think again, Run Disney is doing the best they can with having gone through that. And I'm happy to see that because it's something proactive. They had to be reactive at marathon weekend. So I think it's a little bit more proactive. But if you were actually there and not just speculating from halfway or fully the way across the country, let us know what you thought. Other news, we got the Garden Rocks concert series lineup for Flower and Garden. Lots of good acts out there, but definitely check it out to see if there's something that overlaps when you're going to be there or different race weekends. Well, I guess there's only just one left, so Springtime Surprise. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of good stuff there. We got some new concept art for Unfairly Ever After, which is the show that is going to come where Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy was.
I like the name.
I do too. Auditions are also open for Maleficent for the show. So if you have beautiful cheekbones and are itching to play that
Honestly,
kind of a green.
even if you don't, contour.
Exactly. But no, I think it's cool because that's our first confirmation of a character per se.
Mhm.
The Lightning Lane premiere pass and news that I'm sure doesn't surprise anyone. It's been expanded to anybody who's staying on site can buy it. Not really super surprising to me. And then Galactic Star Cruiser is going to be now that space is going to be office buildings.
Oh, that was tone of disappointment.
Okay, so a lot of people are like, wow, that, imagine going to work in an embarrassment. Okay, if I didn't work on the Star Cruiser, if I wasn't involved in it, and I got to go to work in a spaceship every day, that beats a cubicle any day. That is so cool. I mean, I would maybe like them to put a real window in instead of like the fake space window, but I don't know if like this is not the dunk you think it is because if assuming I'm sure that some of it they will take out, but like
Yeah.
again, if my office building like was part of a little spaceship, I don't think I would be mad about that. I think that would actually be pretty cool. Personally, maybe I just am having a little bit too optimistic of a view on that, but I don't know. Kind of beats a sterile white office.
I think that's a very good, like, positive spin on it, to be honest. Yeah, I was just, like, initially disappointed to hear they weren't, like, coming up with some other new resort or something to put there, but, office
So,
space is fine.
bean counter knowledge I can drop on you. So since I'm going to try to keep this very, very high level with some of the accounting behind it because they accelerated the depreciation of the building. They can't use it
Okay.
for anything that's revenue generating, so money generating for
For
a
how
certain
long?
period of time. Oh
I want us to
god.
speculate.
It's a long,
Speculation
it's
Nation.
pretty, I I think it's like 10 years. So in terms
Okay.
of like, yeah, in terms of the, like, accounting rules behind it, so it's not completely out of the question. What I do think is interesting is they had so in Muppet Gate, when we didn't know where it was going to go,
Mhm.
the news leaked that they were starting to have people in the offices behind, like, Launch Bay move out of their
Right.
offices. So, they're still moving them out even though the Muppets are being also evicted, and that's where Monsters Land is going.
Monstropolis.
Yes, thank you. Does that mean Speculation Nation? Does that mean that maybe we are gonna see some sort of work done on that Launch Bay area, and that development will still or be ongoing because a lot of people and I don't know, like, how big the offices were that moved around, but, could there be a situation in which now all those office buildings are cleared and they may develop a little back there? Maybe.
Yeah.
Is it a stretch? Maybe. Also maybe. But we don't know. We know nothing. Just that things are happening, and but that's about it on the Disney news for the week. It was a little bit lighter up until the point of recording. So Disney fun fact, which leans into our main topic of the day. On the 4th of February in 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was generally released to US theaters. Look at that.
We love Snow White. She's
Yes.
the challenge princess, if you didn't know. So, Walt Disney World Princess Half Marathon Event Guide. Maybe this is what you need. Maybe this will bring you a little bit of like invigoration, and maybe we're turning a new leaf. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm bringing the manifestation energy. I'm going to bring you with me.
All right. I'm along for the ride. I am strapped in. I've tugged my little yellow safety thing to make sure that I actually am strapped in and my seatbelt's locked in.
Great.
Safety first. Our featured charity for the weekend is Starlight Children's Foundation, which supports pediatric cancer patients with toy deliveries and Disney themed hospital gowns to bring them a little bit of joy in a situation that is really tough to deal with and lots of time in hospitals. So, really help support different morale aspects with it. So, that's an awesome foundation.
And we will have their link in the show notes if you would like to check them out. So, first things first, the expo, the thing you must attend if you want to run any Run Disney race. Hours. Let's start with the hours. Since this is only a 3-race weekend instead of 4 like marathon, we start on Thursday. Thursday, February 20th, the expo is open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Then on Friday, February 21st, the expo is open from noon to 7 p.m. And on Saturday, February 22nd, the expo is open from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday is always a little bit shorter, so if you're doing the standalone half, make sure that you get there during those hours. You do not want to rely on emergency bib pickup. Technically, it is never guaranteed, so try your best to get it when you're supposed to.
Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of curious. I would have to this is a very, very specific question. Is if you were trying to do emergency bib pickup for the 10K during marathon weekend when they had the bib disaster.
Oh my goodness.
So think of that as your situation, your motivation to get your little tootie or your booty to the expo. Because sometimes there's a bib disaster and there's a lot of people. And there's even because I knew a lot of people who were like, I went to check to make sure my bib wasn't affected, even though I didn't get an email. I just heard about it. So
Mhm.
imagine that. And then also you're trying to get your bib. And yeah,
Mhm.
not a good combo. So try to get yourself there. I mean, not
Mhm.
try, do. There is no
Do
try. I am Yoda.
in order to get into the expo, to pick up this critical piece of paper with a little piece of plastic on the back, you will need to get your check-in pass. That will come via email on Monday, February 17th, 2025. Every once in a while, you can find the information in your Run Disney account early while they roll everything out over the weekend, but it will come. No reason to like sit on your phone all weekend and refresh, refresh, refresh. It will come. You will need to bring a printed version or the digital copy of your check-in pass. You can download it as like a file, save it as a PDF on your phone. If you have either an Android or an Apple, you can add it to the according wallet app thing that's on your phone. You will also need a valid form of photo ID. Do not be like me, even though I drove, and get all the way to Disney and not be sure that you have your ID. I was very, very confident it was in my purse, so I did not do a last minute check to be like, oh, yeah, there's my wallet. And guess what? My ID is in my wallet. Well, my wallet had flung out of my purse the week before when I was driving to work and had lodged itself underneath my passenger seat. So luckily we found it, but that was a lot of panic and a lot of feelings that we didn't need to feel upon arriving at Disney. So double, triple, quadruple all the checks that you have your ID. We did find out that they would accept a photograph of the ID in emergent situation, but don't get yourself there. And
Yep.
also, maybe while you're listening to this, get your ID out and take photo just in case. Cover
Yep.
all your bases.
If you saw somebody asking in the Facebook groups what happens, can you get your can you get your bib if you forgot your ID? That was me. Because I asked on a non just to like, because I was like, I don't, if somebody's gonna make fun of me, I don't feel bad. Like I whatever. I did make sure it wasn't a non, but I did go and specifically ask them at the expo.
Yeah.
Um, even though we had resolved the situation way prior to that, I just went and asked because the 10K booth was when I went to pick my dopey bib up was really empty. So I was like,
Mhm.
hey, I have my bib. I'm legitimately asking if I were to have forgotten my ID, what do I do? And they're like, oh, if you have a picture, I was like, would a picture have worked? Like, yeah, that would have worked. So I made sure I took a picture of my ID just in case.
Mhm. Maybe get pictures of your loved ones' IDs if you're traveling together. I think, this is one of those things they tell you if you're traveling abroad as well, is to have copies of your identification. So let's all just put that as a check that we should all have copies of our identification for whatever the reason is.
Exactly.
You will also need to have signed your waiver in your account. If you have not digitally signed your waiver, there are printed copies that you can sign in the expo hall kind of. It's like this little hallway down at the bottom before you actually enter the expo hall. This is also what you will have to do if you are an international runner because for whatever reason they do not allow international runners to digitally sign their waivers. So maybe put a little extra time in there so that you know that you're going to have to do that. And that's sort of it. There's also a virtual queue for merch, as there always is.
The virtual queue for merch starts at 8:30 in the morning. You get to sleep in a little bit, but it starts at 8:30 in the morning. You have to be within 40 miles of Disney in order to join it. I can't tell you where along I-4 that is, but basically the intent is that it's somebody who's like closer. I
Not in the Atlanta airport.
Yes, not still in Omaha or Cincinnati, places I've joined virtual queues from in the past for rides, but you wanna make sure that you're actually, like, in the vicinity
Mhm,
before you join the virtual queue. Usually, it's out by a certain time of the day, usually by 3 PM. They're pretty like, they take it down so that you could just enter,
mhm.
but
It is located in the same place as the other virtual queues, though. So if you don't know
correct.
where to look, it's in the same spot in your My Disney Experience app as all the other ride virtual queues.
Exactly.
And it works the same too. You can confirm your boarding party ahead of time and all that.
This is just for the Run Disney merchandise.
Mhm.
So it's not for if you're only interested in going to get your bib and then your shirts, you can do that without joining the virtual queue. I'd recommend just joining it, and then if you decide I'm not dealing with all of that gestures broadly to people-y things, then I get that. And then it's just for day one as well. So
Mhm.
usually by day two, it will no longer be in place. So
Mhm.
you're free to just walk on into the expo.
Yep. So transportation for the expo starts 30 minutes before the opening time for that day. So on Thursday that's going to be 9:30, on Friday that's 11:30, and on Saturday that's at 10:30. And then also it closes 30 minutes after the expo. So that's 8:30 on Thursday, 7:30 on Friday, and 3:30 on Saturday. And this is different transportation than your standard Disney transportation that's going to take you to the parks or to Disney Springs. These are charter buses. Occasionally, it's a Disney Cruise Line charter bus. Those are very nice.
Ooh.
But most of the time, they're like generic Academy charter buses. Still equally comfortable, just less thematic. And you'll probably have the same like person waiting for you at your little bus stop for that every day. So maybe say hi, be nice to them. And yeah, and they're very like they've been doing this for a while. For the most part, they've got it under control.
For sure.
Don't panic.
The one the one thing I'd say is that if you are a member of Club Run Disney, you received an email this past week stating what your club benefits are. So the shopping window for platinum members is from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. on the first day of the expo. For gold members, it's 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. So that's when you can access those benefits, and life is good. The platinum members, you have your lounge where you have your bib pickup and whatnot, but Check your email if you're looking for more information
Mhm.
on that. So on the transportation note, you either have to get yourself to the X, or you either have to drive yourself, or I usually just take a lift from my resort hotel to the expo to get there usually by like 7:40
Mhm.
for my 8:30 shopping window. Um, yeah, that's just how it is.
This is Natalie maybe kind of sometimes regretting her life choices.
Yeah, when it's like you're like, "Oh, I gotta wake up early that morning, the day before the races start." No, it's good because it's a really good energizing thing. I always talk to nice people in the line, and it's good to see familiar faces, and just it really sets the weekend up for something special, which because it is special.
And the last thing, there's 2 things besides the whole ID fiasco that we've just discussed. There are 2 things you must know about bib pickup. That is, you must pick up your bib the day before your race. We did mention that there usually is emergency bib pickup, but you do not want to rely on that, especially if there is any fiascos like there was during marathon weekend. And the second thing is that you cannot pick up the bib for someone else unless they are a minor. So if you are a mom and your 14-year-old is also running the race with you, you can do that. However, you cannot pick up your husband's or your best friends. They have to be there to pick up their own bib.
Indeed.
All right, should we talk some course stats? And by stats, I mean how many water stops and medical stops there are. Because there's no, I mean, apparently there is a food stop during the half. Is
Yep.
it beans or is it like
Yep.
banana? It's beans, right?
Yep. The halves have beans,
Yeah. It makes me sad because I really, really wanted to be the cookies they gave us during the full.
but those are usually available at the expo.
Yeah.
Like they'll
So
just give them out.
yeah, they give away either the toasts or the cookies, or they give away a variety of their products. I don't even know how to pronounce that brand, but it's a big yellow space. You'll know it. So for the 5K,
I'd love to hear about the 5K.
okay, the 5K is super exciting. There's one singular water stop. There's not much. I mean, like the 5K is you go through the showcase, like there's not much else going on. There's plenty of bathrooms, but and for a lot of people, that one water stop is enough. I have heard plenty of stories of parents with their kids who kind of regret not carrying like a water bottle or something with them because kids can be impatient. So if that's you, or you are the kid and you are impatient like I am sometimes, maybe bring your own water.
Good to know. Yeah, it's yeah,
And it's
it
just
also
water.
yeah, talking courses, it is your standard 5K course that we've seen all season. So lovely loop around the world showcase. And nice, good energy.
It really is just like such a ball, the 5K. So much fun, so much energy. It's great. I'm slowly be converted into a 5Ker.
Are you excited? Because this is going to be your first. I guess you got two bibs at Dopey, but it's gonna be your first time like picking up two registrations.
I don't know because I don't know that I'm excited to wait in 2 lines.
Okay. Yeah, that part is fair, but you're gonna have like two different bib numbers. That's
That's true.
It was my first time without a timing chip in a bib was the Princess after Dopey because it was the first time I did a 5K that was a separate registration.
Mhm. That was really stressful to obtain.
Yeah. Well, I guess for myself it wasn't, but when I'm yeah. Whew. Whew.
So, yeah, I'm excited because this will be like, last time Ben and I it was our first challenge was Princess of last year, in February, so it we did that was our first challenge. We'd done 2 races. Now I've done Dopey, so I've done 4. I'm excited because I'm doing the whole race weekend. Feel like I am gonna have it's not a perfect race because like I've never I don't have all of them, but it's kind of like a perfect weekend. And I'm excited to like experience all of that with one less wake up than marathon weekend.
Amen.
So for the 10K, we've got 3 water stops. So you've got 2 more, and we've got 1 medical stop. This is just before mile 4. We didn't mention medical for 5K, but that's because there isn't like a medical tent on course. There is in the parking lot at the start and finish line. There always is. But there's nothing really on course. If there are medical staff on bicycles and such, and there are cast members you can contact if there is a medical emergency or you need something on course, but just know there's no designated medical tent. But there is one for the 10K.
Nice. This is the course. This is our standard 10K course as well. Where and by standard I mean this season we have standardized the 10K courses.
Mhm.
So this is not the one that goes into Hollywood Studios at all. It's the 10K course that goes through the Epcot like parking sign, up the on-ramp, and then down into Epcot a little bit, around the whole boardwalk and Yacht and Beach Club loop, and then back into Epcot. Guess I'm
Which
jumping the gun a little.
I'm no. I'm pretty excited. I actually like this 10K course quite a bit. I like the proportions of, like, park time to not park time,
Mhm.
and it's kind of fun because we go a little bit it's like doing the end of the race at the beginning of a race with how we go up the big ramp, but, like, in
Oh,
reverse.
I like that. Oh, I like that. I like that perspective.
Yeah, and it was really fun during marathon weekend because we actually did it flip-flopped, like, we came in for one race, and then we went out the exact same way on the next race, so
Huh.
that was
I
exciting.
like that perspective. I had not thought of it that way. I
Yeah,
like it. Neat.
yeah. And then for the half, we've got 9 water stops. Only one of them is water only, it's always the first one, it's just the way it is. And the other 8 are Powerade and water. Do we know if it's gonna be yellow again? No, we do not. However, I really like yellow. I'm a weirdo, and that's my favorite flavor. I grab more yellow at the end when I go through the finisher chute.
Someone has to.
Yeah, and I'm glad to carry that burden so all of you can have blue or orange or whatever. There is
Purple
one
supremacy.
what?
Purple supremacy.
That's true. Purple is very good, and purple is my favorite color in general, so I will I will admit that argument into this discussion. We have one food stop, as Natalie and I conversed about. It is sports beans. It is unfortunately not the cookies of the gods. But Ben loves those sports beans. He will not be there for Princess. So if you're hoping to spot either a wild Mr. Natalie or my partner Ben, then that's not going to happen, unfortunately. So sorry.
If you spot Mr. Natalie, um, we have some questions to answer. Namely, why are we not at Jock Lindsay's right now? Where did you find him besides there? Continue.
And then we've got 6 medical stops on the half course. There's basically a little bit less than 3 miles between all the tents, so you shouldn't be going more than a 5K to get to the next medical tent. And again, on all courses, there is medical staff on bikes and cast members that you can get who can get a supervisor or whatever to contact more medical as needed anywhere on the course. Tell us about the
Absolutely.
course. Tell us about the route we're gonna run.
Well,
I wish people
because
could see my dance.
because we're special here. We've seen a preview of the course. It's the same one as the half for marathon weekend. That's why. What you do if this is your first time running Princess Half Marathon Weekend, first of all, welcome. And secondly, you run to put it in broad terms, you run to the castle into Magic Kingdom and then you run back. Um,
There's a lot of highway time.
there is. I see highway time as a blessing for the most
I
part.
like it.
When you're in when you have like all 4 lanes of the highway and you have all that elbow room, it is wonderful. I like it.
Also,
Unironically.
yeah, also remember that if you're gonna run pretty much any other race anywhere that's not a Disney race, you're gonna probably be running like highway/street miles anyways. So any time that's not on the highway is unique to this race.
Exactly. And plus, it really just builds the excitement as you get closer and closer to the Magic Kingdom. You'll pass by the Magic Kingdom parking signs. You'll see it from afar.
Mhm.
Run up near the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian, then the Grand Floridian, um, and then run along the path from the Grand Floridian to the Magic Kingdom. Hopefully, they have the electrical water pageant out again. That was really awesome during marathon weekend. And then you run down Main Street, and it is wonderful. I like that Main Street's like a mile later in the course as compared to the old Princess Half course. It's kind of nice to put it more central in my opinion, of like having it a little bit closer to the middle of the race.
Mhm.
And plus I just kind of like it there a little bit better. And maybe it's because I'm so used to it being like mile 5 is about like a third of the way down Main Street. So it's kind of nice when like you get through like further into the Magic Kingdom and then it's mile 6. It's like, "Ooh." Um
We're already halfway
I li-
there.
exactly. I like it. Then you'll go through the Magic Kingdom, you'll run through the castle, you'll exit in Tomorrowland, and then I still think I still like it being able to run near the Contemporary. You then get to the TTC, which I also think that that's kind of nice because you're on the high of running through the Magic Kingdom, and then you have spectators again. Because
Mhm.
really, when we exited behind the Grand Floridian, you would have some spectators, some people who were staying there who would come out, but here you have like crowds.
Yeah.
So I think that there's good things to be seen about
And
this. I
because
think they're going to
it's
do better. Oh, continue.
keep going.
I think they're going to do a better job with the lighting because even between because it was a little dark by the Polynesian, I think that even between the half and the full during marathon weekend they did a better job of lighting. So I think that they probably will have improved that for Princess.
Mhm. And also a nice benefit of going from Magic Kingdom to the TTC with seeing with your spectators, they'll see you at the very beginning of running into Magic Kingdom, and it still takes you like I mean, unless you're elite at the very beginning, like really, really fast, there's still like a decent amount of time between when you are at Magic Kingdom and actually make it to the TTC that there's a good chance your spectators can get back to the TTC before you make it there and then they can see you twice. Whereas I feel like
Ooh.
before that was like, that would have been a very close call.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. I like that perspective too.
And because
Because yeah.
there's already very limited number of places that people can actually spectate a Run Disney race, unlike a lot of road races and such. So I think making that easier for your support team who's also put in a lot of time and energy to be there, to give them an extra opportunity to see you is nice.
Yeah, I like that perspective.
Okay, so different transportation, but kind of the same transportation because it's the same buses and the same like bus drivers and coordination people who are lovely. Um, However, we're going to talk about like transportation to and from the race now. So, for the 5K, your only option is to get on a bus. Doesn't matter where you're staying. Um, well, I mean, assuming you're staying on property at a resort. If you're not, you're at an Airbnb or another hotel, then you can drive or Uber or whatever. But if you are staying on property, then resort to the start buses will start at 3 a.m. and end at 5 a.m. And then there's a gap of an hour and a half before the buses restart taking people from the finish back to the resorts. That starts at 6:30 and ends at 8:30. Between 5 a.m. and 6:30 a.m., there is no transportation because roads are closed. So if you have spectators coming to watch you, tell them they need to be on a bus in the first half if they want a chance to see you at Magic Kingdom. If you're in the back of the pack and they just want to see you at the end, then they probably can get on a 6:30, but just keep that in mind based on your spectating plan. Is that math? Is that math not math?
I do not think the maths. I have to
Probably.
verify, but
I mean, for the 5K it obviously doesn't cuz you're not going to Magic Kingdom, but like
right.
it's the same it's almost the same times. So we'll get there. I jumped ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, that tickled my brain a little bit. I was like, "Wait a minute, I thought we were talking about the 5K."
We are. I just got really excited because we were talking about spectating before.
All good.
So for the 10K, again, your only option is the bus. So those times to get from your resort to the start again are 3 to 5 a.m. and to return are 6:30 to 9 a.m. So you get an extra half an hour on the end to come back. And again, like there's no Magic Kingdom, so it doesn't matter. Now that we're actually to the half, you have multiple options actually. So on like how you're gonna get transportation. So if you are staying at a monorail resort and you're trying to get to Epcot, you can do that starting at 2:30 a.m. If you are not at a monorail resort, then you can take the buses, and that also starts at 2:30 a.m. and goes until 4:30 a.m. If you are trying to get to Magic Kingdom to spectate, you'll first need to make your way to Epcot, and then you can get on a monorail starting at 4:30 a.m. to go to Magic Kingdom. I also learned that theoretically you can take a minivan, as my parents did, to the TTC. Only minivans can get through, nothing else. I don't know why, but if you are in an emergent situation, you might be able to get a minivan. Although my parents did say it was difficult and they ended up sharing a minivan with a stranger who got one before they did. So, things to consider. And then the return times, if you're on a bus, the buses will restart at 6:30 a.m. and go until 10:30 a.m.
I looked it up in terms of if can my spectator get on the do they have to get on a bus before the bus break?
Mhm.
The answer is pretty much to guarantee they see you, yes. So if on the assumption, if you were to start at 6 in the morning, so about the wave before the balloon ladies, and you run at a 16-minute pace, you're
Mhm.
going to get to Magic Kingdom. Well, you're going to be on the pathway going to the Magic Kingdom, let's just say that, at 7:20 in the morning. So probably get to Magic Kingdom around 7:30, 7:25, and you go, "Natalie, there is a bus, like, the buses restart before that, you ding dong." Well, so
But you
remember, your
still have to take
spectator
2 transportation options.
exactly. Your spectator is going to have to get from your hotel to Epcot. They're also gonna have to take the monorail from Epcot to the TTC, and they're also from there going to have to take the monorail from the TTC to Magic Kingdom.
Unless they just wanna see you at the TTC, then they could just stay at the TTC.
That is true. And then you also have some more wiggle room because the TTC is closer to mile like 7.5. So at that pace, you're getting there closer to 8 a.m. So yes, you do they if that's where they're spectating, then that works. But just know, if you'd like to do the math, we did the math. So
Natalie did the math,
you're
not me. Well, maybe I did the math,
no,
like
you did the math. I just modified your spreadsheet. Um, I put in that time as like just a 6 a.m. start to make it a
so
little bit
really I
easier.
programmed the math and the computer
You
did the
did.
math.
Exactly. So just kind of keeping in mind, especially, where you anticipate your corral to be, and we'll kind of get through or get to your anticipated start times later. Obviously, you're not going to know what corral you're in until you pick the bib up and there's a letter on there. There's some good speculation. I know that I tend to start and see due to my proof of time. I usually have a little bit better of an estimation and then I can plug in with my paces and whatnot. So obviously we're going to get into the estimated start times and whatnot too. And I guess story time. I think I did say a little bit of this during last week's episode, but I did use the magical spreadsheet, with my estimated pace. Um, and I was pretty close, but I ran faster than that. So in terms of like informing spectator,
Mhm.
being my mom, but I also knew well enough in advance that I was running faster than that. So my original estimate of 10:15, I'm like, you want to be there by 10. I was like, let's say 10 so that when I come in at like 10:05, and then I came in exactly at 10 a.m. So kind of do some of the math with that. Like you can try to prep as much as you can, but I think that the safest bet, if you really want your spectator to see you on Main Street, you really want them, they really should take that, or they don't even have to take the bus with you. They
Yeah.
just have to be on a bus before the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
The stall in the bus, I should say, not the bus stop. Spiel over. For now. This one, at least.
There still isn't any information out as of time of recording on like transportation to get to yoga. My best guess is that there will still be buses because it's still early.
Oh, yeah. I think there will be buses. It's just, so for context, in years prior, they have like specific, there's one bus that picks up at the Contemporary, for example. There's one bus, like it's not like you have a range of bus times. It's that you have to be at your bus, like it's 3:45, and then when the bus leaves, it's gone. So that's more the context behind that, is that I think they might still be finalizing that part of it. And we'll talk about a little bit more about yoga later.
All right, you want to tell them all about the projected start times?
Oh yeah, crack the knuckle. All right. So for our 5K, if you're in Corral A, your corral closes at 4:45 in the morning, and your estimated start time is between 5 and 5:05 a.m. Pretty standard. Corral B closes at 4:50 a.m. Projected start time 5:06 to 5:13 a.m. Corral C closes at 5 a.m. when the race starts. Projected start time 5:14 to 5:21 a.m. Corral D closes at 5:10 a.m. Your projected start time is 5:22 to 5:36 a.m. Corral E closes at 5:20 a.m. and your projected start time is 5:37 to 5:51 a.m. Corral F closes when the start line clears and they're not starting anybody anymore. Projected start time is 5:52 a.m. to 6:07 a.m. And sometimes this gets asked of why did they close the corrals when they do? Like, why is there a closing? And so Corral A lines up in the starting chute. And Corral B is actually the
Far
furthest
away.
away from Corral A because they file them in like far too close, because then they have like, that's how they fill things in. And like, if you've run before and you've seen it, the operation before, well, maybe if you're in Corral A, you're not quite as aware of kind of how like the whole like operation goes, but in order to fill that in, they can't have people, because what you do if your corral is closed is that you go to the next open corral. So say you get there at 4:51 a.m., you're going to Corral C because it's still open, regardless as if you're an A or a B. If you're in D, you're going to D. You can't go up. You can go back. You cannot go up with your corral. Anyway, for the 10K, your corral's open at 3:45 a.m. So if you're looking to get as far up in your corral as possible, that's when you want to, getting there nice and early and then just popping a squat. But Corral A will close again at 4:45 a.m. Estimated start time 5 to 5:03 a.m. Corral B closes at 4:50 a.m. Your projected start time is 5:04 to 5:07 a.m. Corral C it closes right at race start at 5 a.m. Projected start time is 5:08 to 5:11 a.m. Corral D closes at 5:05 a.m. Your start time 5:12 to 5:23 a.m. Corral E closes at 5:15 a.m. Projected start time of 5:24 to 5:41 a.m. Corral F closes at 5:25 a.m. Projected start time is 5:42 to 5:56 a.m. And keeping Corral G hot and ready here, we have Corral G for Princess Weekend too. So it closes when the start line clears. Your projected start time is 5:57 to 6:09 a.m. Half marathon day, baby. The corrals open at 3:15 a.m. for the half marathon. Corral A, again, is going to close at 4:45 in the morning. Your estimated start time is the same as the day prior, 5 to 5:03. Your for Corral B closes at 4:50 a.m. Your projected start time is 5:04 to 5:07 a.m. Corral C closes right away when the race starts, which after Walt Disney starts, that by the way. Your projected start time is 5:08 to 5:11 a.m. Corral D closes at 5:05 a.m. Projected start time is 5:12 to 5:23 a.m. Corral E closes at 5:15 a.m. Your projected start time is 5:24 to 5:35 a.m. Corral F closes at 5:20 a.m. Your projected start time is 5:36 to 5:51 a.m. And Corral G closes when the start line clears. So 5:50 or your projected start time will be between 5:52 and 6:08 a.m. So what this tells us is that it's pretty much implied that Corral C will be the cutoff for proof of time again. So proof of time in Club Run Disney will be corral A through C, and then the first non-POT corral will be D. Again, this isn't necessarily a guarantee, but the numbers say to me that C is a lot. C, B, and A are a lot smaller, at least for, and I'm talking for the 10K and a half marathon. Usually things are a little bit more evenly distributed for the 5K because there is no POT. So we get to speculate and spiral again soon.
It's one of Natalie's favorite activities, to be honest.
Yeah, it truly is. Like doing like bib math is my favorite, is like delightful math.
All right. So for race day, we've got some info about gear check. The gear check is available for all the races, including the 5K, and it's in the reunion area. You will use the clear bag that they give you at the expo. I have never not seen there be extras on tables at gear check if something has happened to your bag, such as it ripping. They are not known for being the most sturdy of bags. You will take that bag, put all of your things in it, and you will write your bib number on it. They'll make you tie it up, and then it goes into the gear truck. If you forget your gear check bag at the end because you're delirious or something, or you're just so overjoyed that it doesn't even occur to you that you need to retrieve your things, then they take those lost and found gear items to the lost and found at Epcot. It is at the guest relations um, area outside of the park. So you don't have to, you don't have to have a park ticket to retrieve your stuff. You don't have to go inside. It's outside the park. If you lose something that is not clothing, it will also go to that lost and found. If you lose clothing, you're SOL. They donate it. You're never finding it again. Or you might find out that someone went corral shopping with a blanket and retrieved it and posted their haul on Facebook. Like, that's also a possibility.
I love the corral shopping is so funny.
So if there's something like you really would be crushed if you lost clothing wise, I don't think race time is generally the best time to wear that thing. And then we've also got race etiquette that I would like to cover as part of like race day information that you need to know as a runner. We go over this every time. This is, I would say, like probably at least 90% what Disney says as race etiquette. And then there might be a little bit of us sprinkled in. um,
Yeah.
this is mostly the same as our last one. And I honestly can't remember which was directly from Disney and which stuff was us. So, all right, first one. Please pay attention to the pre race instructions, both digital and verbal. What you read and hear will not only help guide you through the race course, but will also help keep you and others safe. So, if a cast member or a member of Run Disney asks you to do something like go around a cone or something, there may be a danger that you may need to go. There may be someone having a medical emergency. They're diverting people. They're switching. A lot of times they're shouting. They've got a little tape sometimes with an arrow when you're going past Polly or Grand Flow because there's a walkway path that they need to like move people halfway across the road. Then they move them the rest of the way and they will divert running traffic to either side. So just, eyes and ears. Listen and look. Please enter your correct starting group. This will ensure that you are running with people who have a similar pace. You can always go all the way back. There are plenty of people who dead last start, but for like generally, I think they do try and make some kind of effort, as much as people don't think they do, to kind of place people where they say they're running at.
Yeah.
So try and follow, where they say to put you. It also will help people, help them actually like release the runners at the right rate. If there's way, way, way more runners in a corral than there were supposed to be, then that could delay start times. Run or walk no more than 2 abreast. Other athletes will want to get by you. If you are walking in a group, please start in the last start group. Look, I know that you're all excited, and you and all your best friends from college haven't seen each other in like 5 years, and this is your reunion, and you're just like out there having a good time. Please don't all be shoulder to shoulder across the entire road. It's not safe for you, it's not safe for others. Other people will get annoyed at you, and, like, if a giant blob of people in a pace group can leave room for people to get around, you can do it with your group of 5. So, be courteous to the others on the course. Also, kinda hard to yell at people 5 away, so, like, maybe form a little cube with someone in the middle, and, like, you guys can pretend you're Secret Service agents and you're protecting a princess, and then you can rotate who's the princess. Just an idea. If you want to run with a friend and they are in a different start group, the faster of the 2 friends is going to have to move back to the slower start group. So if Natalie wanted to run with me and give up her proof of time, she would have to move back to me in order to run. I could not move up to her corral. She's not going to do that. I'm going to see the back of her head and probably never see her again. But if you are one of those people, you could do that. And that's no shade to Natalie. I love you.
Yeah.
And then if you are stopping at a water station, move all the way over to the table, grab the water, and then get out of Dodge. Do not linger, do not walk as slowly as possible, make room for others. Also, you don't have to like get the very first water. It goes for a little while, so keep moving. Um Same goes for Powerade. It'll be water, then Powerade. So once you get one step away so someone else can step in, if you need to get a second one, just hop back in, hop back out. If you move to the side, if someone says, excuse me, or coming through, or on your left, or on your right, make sure you make room. It's especially important when you're in narrow areas because either there could be also a wheels athlete, a roll Disney athlete. What's
Yeah,
the
just
correct?
yeah. Well, I'd say that, yeah, well, Roll Disney is who starts at 4:58 AM, like,
Mhm.
before the race starts, but there might be an athlete on wheels
Yeah.
or yeah,
There are a
athlete
variety of athletes with a variety of accommodations, and they may need more room. So they may, you know, if they're on a scooter and they're going downhill off an off ramp, they may have a harder time stopping. So be aware of your surroundings and move over if someone asks you to. Don't be like those cars who are mad when people try and merge in on the highway. Let people in.
for sure, and I would advocate for if you notice there's a situation in front of you, okay, if you notice that I don't know, I try to like, when I hear a wheeled athlete's guide yelling wheels coming downhill, I try to
Mhm.
amplify that, and
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm loud. So, I try to yell wheel I kinda try to, like, join in with it so more people will hear, um, what's going on.
Mhm.
So, try to look out for other people and on course to the extent that you can. So we're all just one big community. So I think that helping out those, especially who like, like it helps everybody. It helps the athlete not hit somebody and then fall. It helps somebody not get hit by wheels. They, yeah. So try to be a good neighbor on the course.
Mhm. Last but not least, when you're approaching the finish line, you may see a loved one cheering you on. We all hope that for everyone. Please do not encourage anyone to join you in the finish line stretch. Your support team is very important, but please communicate that the race course and finish area are for registered participants and staff only. Look, At a Run Disney race, it's a lot harder than like a local race for someone to jump in on course, especially at the finish line. There's like multiple layers of barricades that someone would have to climb over in order to do that. But with that said, obviously someone had to do it or they wouldn't say this. So
Yeah, I really want the backstory
we will be
so bad.
forever asking the backstory. Maybe someday if we ask loud enough, Run Disney will let us know. But until then, be respectful. And I think that's pretty much all of them. I think last time we talked a little bit about some extra etiquette that's not official Disney etiquette, like if you're going to be run walking, try and move to the right when you're walking and to the left when you're running. Make sure you signal when you're going to change whatever it is from running to walking or walking to running. There are many different levels of this signaling, the most basic being raise your hand, and please raise your hand before you do the thing, not as you're doing the thing, because like then it's not a warning. But there are other levels. There are people who count down like loudly out loud. You'll hear this a lot if you're near a pace group. And there are people who also count down with their fingers on their hand how many. So if you're, not wanting to use your breath for that, or you're awkward, or for whatever reason, you
Or
can
you're
count,
me.
or you're Natalie, you can count down with your fingers. All good indicators and helpful. I've seen, unfortunately, more than one person go down on a course before, and it could be a simple like, "Oh, dang, I tripped," and I get back up and keep running, but there's also been times where people have fallen, gotten a massive cut on their face, and are bleeding and can't continue. So, like, always try and be respectful of everyone on course because you don't want it to happen to you, so you also don't want it to happen to someone else.
Exactly. I'd say patience is also something good to have. With Run Disney, we do a lot of hurrying up and waiting, so
Mhm.
in general, but I'd say if there's a tight space on the course, everybody's in that tight space. So just kind of being patient and yeah, if somebody is like doing a handstand and walking on their hands very slowly in the middle, yeah, maybe that's not cool, but just recognizing that like everybody's also in that space. So just try to exist in that space together. Cause especially, if it's the Grand Floridian walkway, you're about to get into the Magic Kingdom. So how exciting is it? So try to, keep that in mind that you are about to get to the exciting part and just kind of pack a little bit of patience. Things will open up, especially again, I really don't mind the high. I just like to it's nice to just have the elbow room on the highways. So pack your patient pants. I believe that's a Mammoth. I think Molly from Mammoth Club says that. Or I think she says your patience pants. I don't know.
Is it
Something like
patient's
that.
pants or patient's panties? Because that sounds like something my grandma would say.
TM Mammoth Club. But that's their shtick, not mine. But I like it because just kind of pack your patience in a way. And yeah, I can't really think of any other etiquette I don't that I've brought up and not brought up before. To clarify, I don't like separate if there's a couple running together. I don't like run between them. Usually, if I have to like split up a group, it's like two different groups that end up running next to each other, and there's like enough space for me to get through and not be
Mhm.
weird. Like it's like, oh, like these two people and like those other two people, and then there's a space for a Natalie to come through. Um, I realized that's how that came off. I'm like, to be fair, I'm not like I would not run between Hannah and Ben unless asked to mediate something. But would be like, "Oh, excuse me." No, but I tend to say like passing middle and like I make a joke of it when I do pass like two separate groups. Um that's like just happen to be between them. But um I'd say, just be a good neighbor out there and enjoy the ride.
All right, I think lastly we have oh, nope, not lastly. We have spectator info and we still have yoga. Which one do you want to
I
cover, Natalie?
I can take yoga and then also the Disney Springs deals, because we have them more than like a weekend before this time.
Wow, preparation. What is this? Not on our part. Disney literally didn't give them to us last time.
Yeah, it happens. Um, well, because we kind of already covered all the places that you can spectate.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll talk yoga because I'll talk about yoga. So yoga is at 5 a.m. on Monday, the 24th. So after the running is done, if you are signed up for yoga, you got one more wake up to do. It's at Disney's Hollywood Studios. You must arrive by 4:45 in the morning because you have to get check-in done. Parking opens at 4 a.m., as does security. Your check-in begins at 4:15 a.m. As we mentioned earlier, the bus transportation information is not yet available. That will be available closer to the weekend. Um, when we notice it, if it's before recording, we'll let you know. But right now we don't. Something that I see talked about a lot is that you do get to keep the mat that you do yoga on. A lot of people end up selling theirs because they don't have the space to transport it home. But I've heard it's a pretty nice mat now that I
Mhm.
think it was last year,
I saw a
maybe the year
bunch of them at
prior.
the pop-up this year.
Yeah, they look nice. They definitely improved, I think, one of the years to the next year where it was like a big improvement in the mat where people were like, "Oh, I actually do want to keep this now." So, you do get the mat with it, and I've heard it's a really great way to cap off a fantastic weekend. Disney Springs is a place you can go. It's nice because runners get a couple pretty good deals. I won't list off all of them. It's a specific tab, or if you go to the expo guide, there's a section for special savings at Disney Springs. But I'm going to note some of the good or some of the ones. At the boathouse, there's a 10% discount on your food and non-alcoholic beverages, retail, and the amphicars. So if you're looking for something to do on a day you don't have a park ticket, those things look kind of cool. Chef Art Smith's Homecoming, I've been there as well as the Boathouse, 10% discount. Also, food and non-alcoholic bevs. Eat. If you show
So
your
good.
badge, so I'm assuming that means a check-in pass. You get a free chef app with the price of or with the purchase of an adult entree. Dude, that's awesome. um, Paddlefish, 20% off food and non-alcoholic beverages. Joffrey's, 20% off when you buy at the Joffrey's at Disney Springs. Not alcohol or not with your alcohol. Can't be combined with other offers. Splitsville, 10% discount for food and non-alcoholic beverages. Terralina, which is our favorite pre-car or pre-race carby place, 20% off food and bevs of the non-alcohol variety. Wine Bar George, buy one, get one complimentary glass of wine on tap. I keep threatening that I'm going to do this one of these days, and I will one of these days. So that'll be pretty cool. In terms of shopping, 15% off your purchase at Basin, which is pretty neat. Columbia Sportswear. So if it ends up, I'm not going to summon any bad juju into the universe, but it ends up different weather than you were expecting. Uh, it's 20% off an entire single purchase. Ghirardelli Soda Fountain and Chocolate Shop, 15% off a retail purchase. M&M's, 10% off any purchase at M&M's in Disney Springs. Maybe Hannah and I can put our own little pictures on M&M's. Wait a minute.
What if we got
Wait a
Stride
minute.
Sisters M&Ms?
Wait a minute. Okay, wait. That was kind of a joke at first, but now it's dead serious. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna
Don't
get
mind
those,
us.
and then we'll carry them around, and we'll hand them out to people if they recognize us.
You
No
need
promises.
fuel? You need fuel? Wait, that's actually so sweet. The Coca-Cola store, $5 off a purchase of 50 or more, but it's not valid at the rooftop beverage bar, and I think that's where all the cool pops are outside of Club Cool. Dang. Um, there's a lot of different things if you want to go to Cirque du Soleil. There's up to 20% of a savings on tickets to 2025 performances. Limited tickets a guest. But yeah, it's offers are valid from February 20th through March 2nd. Always subject to change as everything is. But yeah, there's a lot of really good ones, and this wasn't an exhaustive list, but there is one on the Disney website. So, neato.
And that's pretty much everything. Are you guys excited?
I feel like Dora the Explorer. I'm asking questions.
Backpack, backpack.
backpack, backpack. I'm not allowed
Yeah.
at Run Disney events,
Yeah.
but I hold things and knickknacks too. Hydration vests are different, and we got water inside for you. Backpack, backpack.
That was so good.
I get so much funnier when I'm tired and sad. Oh man.
Oh, okay. We're not gonna lean into that. I don't love that for you.
I don't either, but at least I'm laughing, so it brings a smile to my face.
If you enjoy listening to our show, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We love reading your reviews out loud, and you might even be featured on a future podcast episode. We have also started a community spotlight on our Instagram at Stride Sisters Podcast. If you want to be featured for a Medal Monday, Finish Line Friday, or any accomplishment you want to celebrate, please send us a picture via our social media platforms or our email. If you want to continue the fun, please join us on our new Facebook page, Stride Sisters Podcast, and join our community. All the ways to connect with us can be found in our show notes. Thanks for listening. Until our next adventure, we're wishing you endless miles of magic and memories. See you next time.